Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Program with Santier, and today we're going to continue working on the Task Tracker program. So that should be exciting. Now, last time I was sort of trying to get stuff pulled together for selecting tasks, specifically for when a notification popped up, so that we could click the notification, it would bring the thing back up and select the task that had caused the notification to occur. So we are going to test that. But not until I've had some water to drink. Okay. So there's a couple of important things that I need to test with this. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start the program and then wait for the window to pop up. As that happens, there we go. So let's go ahead and make a couple of categories. We'll just call this one 1. We'll call this one 2. And then to 2, we're going to add 2.1. Okay, and then in category 2.1, I don't need to have it selected, but I did for whatever reason. We're going to add a task, and we're going to call it timer test. Okay, now if I select that, timer test goes away. So let's go ahead and come in here and give this guy a due date. Now, right now is 2/17, so let's go ahead and set this for 2/18. And then let's go ahead and select that, and okay, nothing popped up. I need to set this to like 2/19. Let's set this to 2/20. 2/20/54. So I might want to make sure I'm zeroing out the seconds on these. But it will take us a little bit to get there. So, I want to just, I don't really just want to wait. I'm lazy. Okay, so let's just set this to 19. Okay, so 2/19/54. So I'm gonna need to wait a little while, but theoretically, notifications should pop up. Theoretically. So if it gets to 2:20 without a notification popping up, I'm filling air here, then we're gonna know we have a problem. We're gonna need to figure out what that problem is. Like this happens sometimes when you're testing this sort of thing, as it's just like there's not anything that can really be done to speed up the test process. You just have to wait. Just have to wait. Okay, so the time became 2:20 p.m. That didn't trigger. This is so the question then becomes why. Maybe I forgot something somewhere. So let's go ahead and look into a couple things. Now, the first thing that you might recall that I said I wanted to do is I wanted to change it so that way this does not have seconds by default. Now this is setting it like this. What I'm going to want to do is, I don't know. Do I want to? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And instead, I'm going to go ahead and make a constructor. So this should call the base constructor. Is that how do you How do you call the base constructor? I mean, there isn't really, I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't, yeah. Hopefully that properly constructs everything that it needs to. I don't know. Some of that stuff can be weird. So due date needs to equal. I'm just gonna actually set it to date time dot now. Actually, what I should be able to do is okay, so I'm gonna grab date time now equals date time dot now, and then I want to set this to now dot year, now dot month, now dot date, day, now dot hour, now dot minute plus 1. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit more complicated than I'm going to do. So I need to go ahead and go int hour equals now dot hour, int minute equal now dot minute plus 1. If now dot minute is greater than equal to 60, now dot minute minus equals 60, and or no, not now, just minute. Not this. I did a okay. Good thing I caught that. Always important to catch errors. And now hour plus because we need to increment the hour because we've turned over the hour. Oh, we need to do a whole pile of stuff, technically. Okay. You know what? I'm not worrying about it. If I make one of these at midnight and it breaks things, so be it. Hour. Minute. Okay. So that should mean that these things automatically are set up. Yeah, that's fine. We're just gonna bare bones test this. So this by default should be a minute from now. And like I'm not expecting it to actually go off a minute from now because it didn't, and the other thing didn't, and there's no reason to expect the other thing to go off if this one didn't go off. Oh, I know why. I know why. Because guess what else I don't do? I don't think I add that to the list of all. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay, so this also needs to have all due dates dot add this. Yeah. Set the default time to be 1 minute from now. And you can see how long this episode has already been, so you can understand why I didn't want to add this onto the end of the previous one to give you the ability to kind of see it then. Due dates. Okay, so there's a couple of important notes, though. I'm going to make another one. I'm going to call this one private. No. How do I want to do this? actually, instead of making this a constructor, I'm going to make this a public void initialize. And the reason for that is this initialization needs to occur here. But right here, it needs to handle it differently. So this needs to have, if not completed on the read, if this isn't marked as completed on read, then add it to the list. Okay, so right here, what we need to do, actually, that needs to, okay, I'm thinking through how I'm kind of trying to set this up. This needs to become a little bit more complicated because I need tm due date date equals new due date, and then this is really complicated. See, the problem is I need to figure out, like, when I'm generating this, I need to, like, add it to, how do I need to have a way of making sure I'm adding it to my lists to sort of maintain it when I'm adding a fresh one. But when I'm adding a, when I'm reading one, so let's just go back to calling this tm due date. And what I'm going to go ahead and do, because I straight up just like need to do that. When I read it, what I can do is if completed all due dates dot remove this. There, just if this is already done, clear it out. Okay. So that way when we're loading stuff, we don't like get due dates that we need to like process or whatever. Okay, so let's see if this kind of fixes some of those problems. Yes, I would like to add these things and add a due date. So theoretically, I should get a notification when it reaches 2:30 p.m. So until then, I will say hello. Hope things are going well for you. I can see that we're like getting pretty close to about the halfway mark of this episode. And as you can see, some of this debugging process and figuring out how to handle things and where to keep track of data can be quite gnarly. So my first test here, and I need to basically run like two, but my first test is to make sure this notification pops up when it reaches 2:30. And unfortunately, I seem to have created it very close to the start. Okay, so what you just saw is this did not pop up. Why, I don't know. Should theoretically pop up at the next minute, theoretically. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is go over to this, and I'm going to just go throw a breakpoint in there, see what happens. Now, the reason why this should go off at the next minute is the time will already have been passed, right? So the next minute is the next time that's going to check it. If you don't kind of like take care of these things as they pop up, they're going to keep annoying you every minute until you take care of it, which is, it's different from recurring functionality, but I think it's kind of functionality that is desirable, right? It's like, hey, you're supposed to like be on this, if that makes sense. So I'm going to want to be able to mark like, oh, okay, this task popped up. Click, bring up the thing. Now, ideally, I'd like to be able to get some buttons, but I suspect I would need to be working with a proper like application and more advanced stuff to be able to have more fine control over like adding buttons and other things to the notification bubble. I don't know how to do anything to it. Okay, so my real question is, why didn't this go off when it was supposed to? Because, there we go. Okay, so our calculate is a bit wonky. Okay, so obviously my math with the calculate is a bit wrong. And all due dates doesn't have anything in it, which is also a problem. And I'm going to need to figure out why. Okay, so what I've determined is I have 2 bugs that I need to fix. The first is that this doesn't work. Whee! And then the second is I'm not getting anything in there. So let's address that first one. Why is this incorrect? That's why it's incorrect, because I did not put parentheses around my math. Remember, folks, parentheses around your math. It makes a difference. Okay, now that I've fixed my idiotic mathematical blunder that I'm sure somebody was yelling at me about in the comments, but I'm sorry, you can see that this is being recorded on January 30th, 2018, and by the time you see this, it's probably August, because I'm recording like a bunch of these, and like, anyway, I'm not sure like if the once a week schedule makes sense if I'm recording a bunch of them, but I'm not sure like anyway, I'm not going to get into all that right now because there's plenty of time to get into that while I'm waiting for the timer to go off. Water's delicious. So what I've determined is there is a problem there. Now I need to figure out the problem in the other spot, which is, why is this not happening? Because it should be happening, because I'm returning a new one right here. See, so should go into here and add it to the list, but it isn't. So why? Actually, before I go in there, does this? No, it wouldn't have happened anyway. Sorry, I'm just like thinking through things. So I'm going to need to add stuff for like completing the due date, because I want to be able to like have these not occur anymore if it's actually done. So see how when I on completion, completed history, I remove it. But I also need to be able to individually mark these things as completed, because they need to be able to get removed. For example, maybe I want to add a couple of these as like notifications ahead of time of some sort of event coming up. Like maybe I want to add one the previous day and be like, okay, that one occurred. So maybe I want to add like a one-shot property to this or something. So I don't know, just like stuff to think about. I'll probably tweak this a little bit over time, but for now I just want to get it so that way I can. Oh, yep. Okay, so it's going in here. This guy, all due dates. All due dates now has it. Okay, so now I know that that has a thing. That's good. I should be able to just kind of chill until, what was that, 36? So yeah, like I was saying earlier, until I get interrupted by this notification. Hopefully get interrupted by a notification. I've definitely found that programs are, on average, taking more episodes than I kind of expected. I have a few ideas still for future programs that I want to make, but I don't know how many are like beyond some of that, like, because I'd need new ideas. If this is something that catches on, maybe it's something where I can increase the rate to like 2 episodes per week. Just because, again, like, turns out half an hour is not that long of a programming chunk. So it's something where I could potentially upgrade to like 2 episodes per week, or potentially make the episodes longer, but I'm not entirely inclined to go for like hour-long episodes. I feel like half an hour is a good length. Okay, so my notification didn't pop up. do I still have the breakpoint there in the... Okay, let's just throw another one in here. I'm getting very confused. So like once I run through some of those ideas, I'm not sure, like it's going to be years and years and years of content basically at kind of the current going rate, like because I wasn't expecting things to necessarily go out this far. So like if I want the show to be going on for a long period of time with a faster rate of episodes, yeah, okay, so that's more what sort of values I expect. Now this has... I'm so confused. Okay, so let's add tm due date and dot all due dates 0. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, so it's all due dates. Can I see? Oh, I see what I did. I messed up. Okay. That's an easy fix. This, instead of being new, should be, yes, get return all due dates. There. Now let's test it, see if... Yes. Good news is, once this is working, it's working, and I don't need to keep testing it. So, like, it's a question of, like, how quickly do I want to burn through my ideas, as it were, right? How much time do I want to spend programming, like, other things that are not necessarily stuff that I'm making content out of? And I don't know. There's just lots of questions that way. So, yeah, so we're coming in here, and this now should have 1, good, and and if I click it, it should theoretically have selected that. So let's just go ahead and go over to this view. Just for a moment, wait for the next one to pop up, which should theoretically pop up because there's no reason why it shouldn't pop up. Where was I? Yeah, so it's a question that I've kind of been asking myself is like, okay, well, once I have this series like all booked up, do I have like another series that kind of runs concurrently? Do I want to double up episode speed? Like, there's a lot of questions that way. So maybe if people are actually listening to this, they can give me some feedback. If there's not a whole lot of, and by a whole lot of I mean anyone, really watching these, I'll probably just kind of continue on the pace of like one being released a week. Although it might be a good idea to just have some sort of other thing that I'm doing programmatically to kind of release. Yep, okay, so it comes over here and selects it. So let's go ahead and add a new category, the ASDF category. And then let's go ahead and add another category called the whatever inside the ASDF category. And then just for grins and giggles, let's make the court horror category. And let's come in here. And let's go ahead and take this task, and let's go ahead and take this time up to like 45 or something, so we're not getting beeped by that one. Let's add a task. So one of the things that I just discovered right there is I want to add a context menu to this that lets me like right-click add task or right-click add category, because I just tried doing that. So this is actually something that's really important that I'll talk about after I make this tester. Okay, so I want to have course selected and be on this tab, and see when I click the thing if it goes where I want it to. But something that's really important is when you're trying to work with your user interface, this is a user interface design thing. As you're trying to work with your user interface, you want to keep aware of operations that you're trying to do that you don't have code to perform, because that will give you a big clue into what functionality you need to add to make it user friendly. If you're trying to do something and you can't, then what you're seeing is you have kind of a natural instinct of thinking, I should be able to use this tool in this way. And if you're not able to use the tool in the way that you think you should be able to, then you'll become frustrated. Okay, so if I click this, it comes over here and it explodes. Okay. Interesting. Vertical scroll bar 0, 0. Aha, I think I know why. Because this has one task. Yep. This is why we test stuff, folks. -1. Task controls count. Wait, why did that need to be -1? I jumped out of that a little too quickly. Yeah, I jumped out of that too quickly. Well, anyway, as I was kind of saying, just to kind of conclude my point, I found that I was expecting myself to be able to do something that I didn't set my code up to be able to do. And that caused me to be annoyed. So that means I need to fix it. Target does not equal null. Assign it. And then do this? I don't know. Well, that should be fine. Because if it doesn't belong, or if it isn't, and then it shouldn't be able to find it. So what I need to do, and I have a little bit of time left, is I need to basically take the code down here. Not all of this, but I basically am going to need to take these pieces of code right here. Now, notice that what this does is it will select oh. Okay, well, I mean, whatever. I'm going to do the same thing actually over here. Just to be consistently using the same thing. But I basically just need to do this. Right, I need to display this dialog if it's okay. Do that, etc. So I can do the same sort of thing over here inside my category view control. Now, what I want to do is the easy way of doing this would be view designer and then toolbox, menu, context menu strip. Okay, so this is going to go ahead and be called the category node context menu. And it's going to just have add node and add category. Now, I'm adding this again because, like I said, I found that I was trying to do this. Now, it's not being given to anything, I don't think. Okay, so there's something kind of important though about this, and I want to set it to basically have the default category that's adding to of being the one that you right-clicked on. So it's going to require me to add some additional code. So because we're coming up on time, I'm going to go ahead and say this is what you can look forward to me working on next time. Until then, let me actually, yeah, I'll just scroll up here. Until then, take care, everyone. Think about the questions I asked, I suppose. And bye-bye.